All right, I already worked up a sweat, and we're only one song in. Wow. All right, thank you, and welcome to our first concert of the 2024 calendar year, although we're well into our 46th concert season. In fact, we only have one more premiere concert left in April, and then we got our summer concerts. But we're happy to be here to play for you today, and we're really happy to see an audience here today. We were kind of worried a couple weeks out, 2 weeks ago, in fact, that the Lions were going to make the Super Bowl, and then nobody was going to come to our concert. That's what we were thinking. Now, so I guess it's kind of a good news, bad news situation. Some of you might still be in mourning from that sad loss a couple weeks ago, but we got a great diversion for you up on stage here today. But if you are excited for the big game coming up, we will be done well in time for that for the start of the game. So don't worry about that. We'll get you out a little pre-game entertainment for you, and then you'll get the big festivities later on. But our theme today is a really fun one. I'm super excited about it. I think we're playing some truly exceptional concert band music here today, and I think you'll really enjoy it as well. We're presenting you the elements of nature, which is kind of an outdated concept, way back in ancient history sort of times. They kind of looked at the world in a more simplistic sort of way, and in their view, a lot of people thought the philosophy of the time was that the entire universe, all of universe, was made up of just a certain number of elements. And they boiled it down to earth, wind, water, fire. And then it's kind of up for debate, the next couple. Usually the one that they throw in after that is what they call the ether, the air, space, that sort of thing. So those 5 things are supposed to make up all of the physical matter that you see around the world. And I don't know if you guys know, if you remember back in the 90s, me growing up in the 90s as a 90s child, I remember the Captain Planet cartoon series. Do you remember that? Do you remember the children that teamed up with Captain Planet? They had the rings. Earth, wind, fire, heart. That's kind of a play on this. That's kind of how the elements have kind of stayed in the public consciousness, in pop culture, is being referenced in different movies and TV shows and such. Poets and philosophers love to play on it as well. And today we're going to try to pull on different musical selections that represent each of those different elements. So the first one, Cumberland Gap, was obviously about the earth side of things. And the Cumberland Gap is a geological feature, kind of geographical feature in the Appalachian Mountains. And when people were coming out west for the first time from the east coast of the colonies, Daniel Boone actually was one of these, who took the Cumberland Gap because it was a convenient way to get through the Appalachian Mountains and out into the western part of the country. So that was the first tune right there, a nice classic band piece. We're going to continue on with something much more contemporary, a tune called Cloudburst, which is really fun. It's almost a cinematic experience. If you close your eyes, you'll be able to see the movie playing out in your mind's eye while we're performing this. Basically, the gist of it is it's a thunderstorm is rolling in from afar, and you can hear the thunderstorm approaching, and Eric Whitacre will play on consonance and dissonance, where you'll hear intentional wrong notes, if you will. Like if you took on the piano and you just put your fist on the piano and you got all those, you'll hear that kind of sound for a few seconds, but then he always follows it with a consonance, with a resolution. So this kind of the chaos of the storm coming, but also the beauty, if you will, intermingling with it. And it's going to get closer and closer and closer until finally the cloudburst bursts, the rain starts falling, you'll hear the thunder, and then it slowly fades away as it goes. This piece was actually originally composed for a choir, and you'll hear the band sing a little bit during it for a reference to that. But this band arrangement is, for the most part, using traditional band instruments. Now be ready. There's a moment towards the end of the song where I'm going to actually ask for your help, a little audience participation. I don't want to spoil it too much. Just be on your toes. I'll turn to you, giving you a cue at a certain point. So hopefully you enjoy Cloudburst. Thank you very much. So now we should have put your name in the program because you guys are part of the performance here today. Very nice. You guys get to play the rain today. All right, but we're moving ahead. We got one more tune on the first half of the program. Then we'll take a little break and come back for a nice hearty second half. But we're going to do another one that plays on sort of the elements of water, wind, and maybe not fire this time. You get a fire with the lightning maybe for a cloudburst, but maybe not fire this time, but definitely the water and the wind for something called the Winds of Poseidon. Now, I actually programmed this one on the program not just because it fits the theme that we have tonight, but it also is a remembrance of one of the great band composers who actually just passed away recently, a man named Robert W. Smith. Maybe not a household name out there, but if you play high school band music or if you play in community bands, you definitely know his name. He's one of those people who loved writing for educational experiences and younger performing ensembles, and he always found a way to like make even very simple music very interesting, and there's always little gimmicks or little thematic things that you can tie yourself into that goes beyond just playing the notes on the page. So he was always a favorite. We've played a lot of his tunes in the past, and we're going to play another one here, The Winds of Poseidon, today. It's actually the second movement of his Odyssey Symphony. He did a whole symphony based on the Odyssey and the journey of Odysseus, and basically the theme of the whole piece is kind of each movement is him being blown in a different direction by the winds of Poseidon, and then he ends up on an island and he goes into an adventure in that sort of way. In this movement, it's the winds of Poseidon blowing him towards the island of the Sirens, and you'll hear the siren calls in the background. In fact, can those who have the whirly tubes, can you hold them up just for a second? So we have a brand new instrument you may have never heard before today, the whirly tubes, which are maybe not the most expensive instrument we have on stage here. I got a pack of like 30 of them for like $25, something like that. But it's not that expensive, but they make a really cool sound. Usually you see those in elementary school classrooms. Today, if you play them in mass, though, and you put them in the right situation, they create a wonderfully haunting sound. So you'll hear that in the middle. And that's supposed to be the siren song bringing Odysseus into the island. So hopefully enjoy it. Like I said, we'll take a short break after this and come back with another half of music for you. Welcome back. This is the Birmingham Concert Band. I'm Patrick Jensen. We got one more half of music for you, and then you can get home and get to the Super Bowl and get to your parties and all of that. But we're continuing on for Elements theme with a tune called Beyond the Horizon, which I want to explain just a little bit, just because the composer here is quite unique. A man named Rossano Galante, and he's a very strange case because his main gig is orchestrating for Hollywood movies. So how a lot of Hollywood movies are made nowadays, just with CGI and the kind of crunch that's right at the end of the process of making a movie. Music is the last thing that gets finished because you have to have kind of the final cut before you do all that, but oftentimes the composers don't have enough time to write out all the parts themselves. So a composer, not John Williams, but a lot of other big composers, will write melodies and the chords, kind of the structure of the tunes, and then they'll hand it off to somebody like Mr. Galante here, and he'll take that and figure out what the strings are going to play and what the horns are going to play and kind of orchestrate it out and all. It's just a time-saving sort of idea. So that's his main gig. He's done like Marvel movies and some of the biggest stuff in cinema. On his free time or kind of his passion projects, he writes for concert bands. Isn't that strange? It's so strange. He goes from giant Hollywood orchestras to concert bands. And he says he loves the concert band just because, again, not a lot of people write for it, but also because he says there's a lot of tonal variety there that people haven't really tapped into. And I think that's his greatest strength as an arranger, as a composer, is that he pulls out, you know me, I love different colors coming out of the orchestra, and he always finds a way to kind of give you that wonderful Hollywood magic, but without the use of strings and giant percussion sections. It's really a rare thing, and he's really one of the stars of modern composition when it comes to concert bands. He's still writing music. In fact, this piece is not too old, a tune called Beyond the Horizon. Hopefully you enjoy. Continuing our who's of concert band composers, we're going on to another person who's considered to be one of the greats in the modern era, a man named John Mackey. This tune is called Sheltering Sky, and it's going to pull into our theme in terms of that ether, the air, the space kind of thing. Because how a lot of people, like back in Greek times, would interpret that element will be the sky above us, the ceiling above us. So that's kind of what we're going to reference here. John Mackey, though, he's usually known for his extremely virtuosic composition style. He loves to have like 18 percussion parts, and the woodwinds are just dancing all around and all that. This is the antithesis of that. It's the opposite of that. It's very lyrical, very simple. In fact, middle school bands have played this. You got to be a really good middle school band to do this one. But it's approachable. And what he tried to do with this is something that a lot of band composers of the 40s and 50s were doing, like Percy Grainger, where they would take a folk song sounding melody and instead of drawing on maybe a melody that's found in the past, like Percy Grainger used to go out in the field with a recorder and he would get people's recordings and get the authentic folk tunes. Instead of that, he's actually making his own folk melodies to go on top of it. So he calls it a folk song just in title. It's not really a true folk song, but folk-like, if you will. But it's a wonderful piece of music. It really highlights a lot of wonderful solos within the ensemble, and I'm just glad we got to fit it on this program because it's hard to fit in other programs. So hopefully you enjoy the subtle Sheltering Sky. All right. So the kind of adding on to the tune that we just played, the folk song sort of element. It's a good opportunity to mention our final concert that's coming in April of the premier concert cycle. Like I said, we do some concerts over the summer, a couple in Birmingham and one out in Detroit. But our last big concert is going to be in April, right here, and it's going to be a showcase of folk song music. And the big premiere work that we're going to be playing on that is one of the all-time great band compositions, Percy Granger's Lincolnshire Posy. If you've never heard it before, most people put it up in like the top 50 compositions, not just the band works, but top 50 compositions of all time. It's an amazing, amazing piece of music, really a seminal work for the concert band literature, and we're going to play it right here on this stage. And we'll also play some other really, really exciting music, a Greek folk song suite, a Cajun folk song suite, a bunch of really fun music, international flair I think you guys will really enjoy. So that's coming up in April. We're also doing our student scholarship showcase and presentation in April as well, something really special for the band, and you don't want to miss that. So information on your program for the date and time for that coming up. But our next composition is going to be another amazing composer on display, and this time we're playing on the elements of fire and I guess a little bit of a destructive element with this one with a tune called Vesuvius, which of course is the volcano that famously destroyed Pompeii, and I think it was like 79 or 78 or something, long time ago. But if you guys know anything about Pompeii and Vesuvius, you know about the ash which covered the town and actually preserved the town, where you can actually find human remains and a lot of the arts and stuff. It's amazing how that it's survived over the years, and it's kind of like digging into those remains is kind of like a link to the past, exactly how it was back then, almost 2,000 years ago. Really, really incredible. What Frank Ticheli wanted to do with this one, which he's another living composer, one of the great composers for concert band, he wanted to create this kind of bacchanal of sorts, almost like a couple days before Pompeii is about to erupt, and all these people who don't really know what's going to happen are kind of having their last, he calls it in the program notes a death dance almost. It's kind of their last hurrah before this terrible tragedy is about to happen. A very tough piece of music to perform. Goes throughout a lot of different time signatures and twisting sections. For the musician side, what we think about when we think about Vesuvius is a very unique beat grouping that he puts to a 9/8 time signature. Not to get too nerdy with you, but 9/8 is usually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We group them in threes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Well, this 9 is 2, 3, 2, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Still a 9/8, but that little extra rhythmic snap gives it a little extra exotic danceable kind of quality to it. So hopefully you enjoy it. It's a long haul. It's a very passionate performance. I think you're going to really enjoy it. Here we go. Vesu. Oh yeah, the band is cooking now. Yeah, that's it. All right, thank you very much. Really nice job, band. You guys, I always like to throw one tune on that's really going to challenge the group, and that was one that challenged us right to the last rehearsal, and I think the band really pulled it off at the end. Really nice job, guys. All right, so we're going to do one more tune for you, but before that, I'd like to give my usual thanks and spiel up here on the podium. First off, thanks to the church, Lutheran Christ the Redeemer, Church of the Redeemer, here for having us here today. It's a wonderful venue to perform at. They're so accommodating with us, getting us all the things we need, and every time we play here I think 3 or 4 times a year, so it's really wonderful that they accommodate here us, and I think for you guys it's a wonderful listening experience as well. I want to thank everybody in the band leadership that helps out with council meetings and all the behind the scenes work, everybody that's helping setting up and tearing down chairs. I really appreciate that as well, and I really appreciate all of you coming here on Super Bowl Sunday to see a band concert when there's football to be watching in a little bit. But one last thing is that, as always, I like to remind everybody that this is not a professional organization. This is a community group. We're all here just to have fun, play some music, and share it with you. We're always open for new members to come and join us, so if you're itching to come back and play some music, or if you know anybody that wants to play some music, we rehearse on Wednesday nights. We perform several times throughout the year, and it's a pretty low pressure, just fun situation. My mentality with this band is I want us to have fun playing music, and hopefully you guys are having fun listening to us perform as well. So if you're interested in performing, see one of us, and we can send you in the right direction for that. Remember, our last concert of the year is coming up in April, so we'd love to see you there, and maybe we get even a bigger audience to come and close out the season. So thank you, everybody. Have a great Super Bowl and everything. Our last selection tonight, I think, is pretty obvious why we chose it. September by the group Earth, Wind, and Fire. Hopefully you enjoy. Have a good one. Would you like one more? As I said several times, it's Birmingham before on this podium. a concert unless you play some John Philip Sousa.